Welcome to the Deep Dive.
Great to be here.
Today we're tackling a huge topic, the lead up to the Great Depression.
Yeah, looking at that decade before, the Roaring '20s, and how things started to unravel.
Exactly. We want to understand the key things that really set the stage for that massive economic collapse in the 1930s.
And try to break it down simply, right? Cut through the jargon.
That's the plan. We know people want to grasp these big historical events, without getting totally bogged down. So let's jump in.
Sounds good. Because the Depression, well, it didn't just appear overnight. It was more like a slow build-up, a series of dominoes.
Dominoes, that's a good way to put it. Some things that looked good in the 20s actually had hidden dangers.
Precisely. Risks that were maybe overlooked at the time, things we can still learn from.
Okay, so where do we start? What's the first domino? Maybe credit.
Yeah, let's start with credit. Basically, just borrowing money, right?
You borrow now to buy something, promise to pay it back later.
Often with interest, that extra charge.
And in the 1920s, getting credit became, well, really easy.
Incredibly easy. Much easier than before. Banks, lenders, they were handing it out more freely.
For what kind of stuff?
All sorts. Big things like cars, but also, the new household appliances, radios, refrigerators, stuff people wanted.
Okay.
And crucially, people were even using credit to buy stocks.
Buying stocks on borrowed money. We'll probably come back to that.
Definitely. But yeah, this easy credit, it fueled a lot of the economic boom of the 20s. People were buying more.
But there's a catch, isn't there, if everyone's borrowing?
Well, yeah. What happens if you borrow more than you can actually afford to pay back?
Trouble.
Big trouble. If your income dropped, maybe you lost your job, suddenly you can't make those payments.
And if lots of people are in that boat at the same time.
Exactly. The whole system gets shaky. Lots of personal debt makes the economy vulnerable. You wonder if there were enough checks and balances then.
Yeah, it sounds a bit like a party getting out of hand. Which maybe leads to the next idea.
Yeah.
Speculation.
Speculation. Good transition. Think of it like placing a bet.
A bet on what?
On the price of something going up. Quickly. You buy it, maybe a stock, not because you love the company or want to hold it long term.
But just because you think you can sell it fast for more money.
That's it, exactly. You're speculating that the price will rise regardless of the item's real underlying value.
And this was happening a lot with stocks in the 20s.
Oh, big time. People saw prices going up, and they just jumped in. Fear of missing out, maybe.
Like a gold rush mentality almost. Buy now before it goes even higher.
Kind of, yeah. It created this sort of frenzy. People weren't always looking at the company's actual health or profits.
Just the rising price.
Just the rising price. It pushes prices higher, sure, but it's not always based on solid ground. It's based on expectation.
Which can change really fast.
Very fast. Markets driven purely by that kind of hope, well, they're inherently unstable. History shows us that again and again.
Okay, so easy credit, lots of speculation. And you mentioned buying stocks with borrowed money.
Yeah.
Is that the buying on margin thing?
That's the one. Buying on margin. Let's break it down.
Please do.
Imagine a stock costs $100, but you don't pay the full $100.
Okay.
Maybe you only put down $10 of your own cash.
Just $10.
Right. And
Right.
you borrow the other $90, usually from your stockbroker.
Wow. So you control $100 worth of stock for just $10 down.
Exactly. It lets you buy way more stock than you could normally afford.
I can see the appeal, but that sounds incredibly risky. What's the downside?
Huge downside. First, you still owe that $90 plus interest no matter what.
Right, it's a loan.
And second, what if the stock price drops? Let's say it falls to $80.
Oh.
You've lost your initial $10, and the stock is now worth less than the $90 you borrowed. The broker can demand you pay back the difference immediately. It's called a margin call.
So you could lose more than you even invested?
Much more. You could be completely wiped out and still owe money.
Okay, that's terrifying, and that fueled the speculation even more.
Absolutely. It poured gasoline on the fire.
Yeah.
People with not much money could suddenly make big bets in the market, pushing prices even higher on borrowed cash.
Making the whole stock market structure really unstable, like that house of cards you mentioned.
Precisely. Built on borrowed money and hope. Very fragile.
Which brings us, inevitably, to Black Tuesday.
The day the house of cards came crashing down, October 29, 1929.
What happened? Just everyone sold at once?
Pretty much. Panic set in. People realized prices were way too high. Maybe those margin calls started coming in, and everyone rushed for the exits.
Trying to sell before prices dropped further.
Exactly. But with everyone selling and few buying, prices just plummeted. A massive sudden crash.
What did that mean for ordinary people, not just the Wall Street types?
It was devastating. Life savings gone, just vanished in hours.
And those people who bought on margin.
They were hit the hardest, suddenly facing massive debts they couldn't possibly repay because their stocks were worthless. It wasn't just the rich. Lots of middle-class families had savings in the market.
So the optimism of the 20s just shattered.
Shattered. Replaced by fear, uncertainty. The human cost was immediate and immense.
And this crash, Black Tuesday, is really seen as the event that kicked off the Great Depression, right?
Yes, while the economy had other weaknesses, the crash is widely seen as the main trigger, the event that pushed everything over the edge into that long downturn.
So let's define that. The Great Depression. What was it really?
It was a long, painful decade, basically the entire 1930s, of severe economic hardship, not just in the U.S., but globally.
What were the main features? What did it look like?
Mass unemployment is the biggest one. Millions lost jobs, couldn't find work anywhere.
Lighting to.
Widespread poverty. People couldn't afford food, rent, homelessness surged. You saw bread lines, shantytowns called Hoovervilles.
Businesses too.
Thousands of businesses failed. Banks collapsed, taking people's savings with them. Consumer spending just dried up because nobody had money or they were too scared to spend it.
Such a stark contrast to the booming 20s everyone talks about.
Night and day. Just a complete reversal of fortune for so many.
Now, the crash was a trigger. But were there other things that made the Depression so bad or last so long? I'm thinking about something called the Hawley-Smoot tariff.
Ah, yes.
Yes.
Hawley-Smoot. That came in 1930, just as the Depression was taking hold.
What was it?
It was a U.S. law that massively increased taxes on imported goods, thousands of items.
Why? What was the idea?
The intention, or the stated intention, was to protect American farmers and factories from foreign competition. Make foreign goods more expensive so Americans would buy American-made products.
Okay, protect American jobs.
Sounds logical on the surface, maybe?
Maybe, but it backfired.
Yeah.
Badly.
How so?
Other countries didn't just accept it, they retaliated. They slapped high tariffs on American goods being sold in their countries.
Oh, so like a trade war.
Essentially, yes. It led to a drastic drop in international trade. Global commerce just seized up.
Who did that hurt? It really hurt American farmers who relied on exporting crops like wheat and cotton, and industries that sold goods overseas. Their foreign markets just vanished.
So instead of helping the U.S. economy, it actually made things worse.
Significantly worse. It deepened the Depression and helped spread it more aggressively around the world. A real lesson in unintended consequences.
Wow. Okay, so we have the crash, the bank failures, this trade war, and then nature throws another punch. The Dust Bowl.
Yeah, the Dust Bowl, a terrible environmental catastrophe piled on top of the economic one.
Where and when did this happen?
This was mainly in the Great Plains states, Oklahoma, Kansas, Texas, Colorado, New Mexico during the mid-1930s.
What caused it? Just a drought?
It was a combination of factors. Yes, a severe, long-lasting drought was key, but also years of unsustainable farming practices.
Like what?
Farmers had plowed up millions of acres of native grassland that had held the soil together. When the drought hit, that exposed topsoil just dried up, turned to dust.
And then the wind came.
Exactly. Massive windstorms swept across the plains, picking up that loose dust, creating these terrifying, enormous black blizzards of dust.
Dust storms. What were they like?
Apocalyptic from the descriptions. They could block out the sun for days, seep into houses no matter how well sealed. Breathing was difficult. It buried crops, fences, even machinery, just choked the life out of the land.
Unbelievable. Destroying farms, livelihoods.
Completely. It made farming impossible in large areas. A stark reminder of how human actions and nature can intersect, sometimes catastrophically.
So people living there, already struggling with the Depression, now this.
Yeah, imagine no crops, no income. Your farm is literally blowing away.
What do they do?
Thousands of families, maybe hundreds of thousands, were forced to leave. They packed up what little they had and headed west, mostly toward California.
The Okies.
That became the nickname, yeah, though they came from several states. Many traveled along Route 66, searching for work, any kind of work.
Did they find it?
Often not. They faced hardship, discrimination. It was another layer of tragedy, particularly for rural America.
So, looking back at everything we've talked about, it's clear it wasn't just one thing, was it?
Not at all. It was a perfect storm, really, a convergence of factors.
Let's recap, maybe. Easy credit in the 20s.
led to widespread debt and fueled risky speculation, especially using borrowed money buying on margin,
inflating that stock market bubble,
which burst spectacularly on Black Tuesday,
triggering bank failures, business closures.
leading to mass unemployment, poverty, the Great Depression itself.
Then policies like the Hawley-Smoot tariff made things worse.
By crippling international trade, yes.
And the Dust Bowl added an environmental disaster to the mix.
Exactly. It shows how interconnected everything was: finance, policy, agriculture, even the environment. One domino knocked over the next, and the next.
It's a sobering story. The sheer scale of the suffering is hard to comprehend.
It really is. And understanding these connections, these causes, it's so important. Hopefully, learning from it helps us spot warning signs, maybe avoid repeating the worst mistakes.
Absolutely. Well, to help everyone listening really cement these ideas, maybe mull them over, we've got a few questions to leave you with.
Good idea. Self-assessment time.
Okay, first, how did that easy availability of credit back in the 1920s contribute to the problems that eventually led to the Depression?
Second, try to explain in your own words what were the big risks involved when people were buying stocks on margin.
Third, what was the immediate impact of that Black Tuesday stock market crash, and how did that crash help cause the wider Great Depression?
Fourth, thinking about the Hawley-Smoot tariff, what was it supposed to do, and what did it actually do to trade and the economy?
And finally, in what ways did that environmental disaster, the Dust Bowl, make the Great Depression even harder for the people living out on the Great Plains?
Thinking through those should really help connect the dots on this complex but crucial period of history.